the wind control room doing a great job there. But I will go ahead and get in now and take a look at that freeze warning situation. We do have that in effect for tonight for the Tallahassee area and counties to the north as well. So that'll be something that we'll continue to monitor for you here, as we could see some sub 32 degree temperatures around, expecting 32 though here in the metro area. It will be cool and chilly out there. 55 right now here in Tallahassee, 52 in Quincy. Now for your forecast for tonight, 32 degrees, mostly clear. Freeze warning is in effect. Will be pretty cool out there. And I also wanted to show you here, and coming up at 6:20, Jake Carstens and I will be giving you that sports weather. It's a really exciting segment, breaking all the things down that'll be going on in Santa Clara, California. For right now, I'll go ahead and take it back over to the desk where Ulises and Andres are standing by.
Thank you, Casey. And like earlier, like I mentioned before, it is National Weatherperson Day, and me and Andres are going to be talking about that right now.
Yeah, so it was actually, it was started because back in February, well, actually the guy who started this was John Jeffries. He's the one who the first took meteorological calculations of the sky here in the United States.
Yes, he started taking them back in 1774, and also he was also the first person to fly a balloon voyage over London at that time.
And when he did that, he was calculating the air pressure and different calculations that they were able to do back then above London. I think it was about 6,000 feet. That's the height that we're at.
That's really impressive. I mean, it's amazing how we have learned so much about the weather in the last 200 to 300 years, and that's why, you know, National Weatherperson Day. Anybody that loves weather, and if you are in the field, it's your day. But now we're going to send it over to Jake with a look of our local.
Thanks a lot, guys, and that banner says it all. A cool and very, very nice day around here. Those cranes by Doak Campbell Stadium were basking in a lot of sunshine today as they're continuing that construction project. Today's low temperatures were a story to be noted. Very low across much of the region, or the entirety of the region. 35 degrees here in Tallahassee. At the freezing point, 32 degrees in Quincy was our low spot. Didn't get over 40 in any part of the viewing area, with Apalachicola, the high spot, at 39. Current conditions right now, Tallahassee sitting at a very comfortable 55 degrees under clear skies. Look at that dew point, 18 degrees. That is the lowest I've seen in a long, long time around here. Wind coming out of the north at a nice crisp 8 miles an hour. Pretty cool day out there. The jackets are a necessity, but it is just gorgeous otherwise. Current temperatures across the region are very consistent. Valdosta being the low spot at 50 degrees. Warmer near the water, with our high spot being St. Mark's at 58. 55, like I said, here in this capital city. There is a freeze warning tonight, as Casey alluded to earlier. Again, Leon County between 1 and 8 a.m. tonight. We could be seeing temperatures at or below 32 degrees, and that is a possibility throughout the entirety of the region. So like they were alluding to the 3 Ps earlier, please watch the pets, watch the pipes, and watch the plants. For all the farmers out there, those crops could freeze up, and that could be a pretty bad situation. Satellite and radar is completely clean across the entire area. No cloud cover to speak of throughout the day. So just a beautiful day. Of course, during the next 36 hours, this could change a little bit. See, this cloud cover starting to move its way in from the east with some rain showers moving towards the eastern extremities of our viewing area, into Valdosta, into Monticello. Not a significant chance of rain around here. We're calling for about 10% or so, so it might just be an isolated sprinkle or two throughout the day. But something to be noted, the umbrella might come in handy as you go about your Saturday business. Sunday, that's going to clear out, though, and set up for a very nice and very cool next few days after that. Tonight's forecast, low of 32 degrees. Again, that freeze warning is in effect. Mostly clear skies with the wind coming out of the northeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Very much like last night, maybe a little bit less breezy, but a very, very cool night. Still pretty good to get outside. Tomorrow's forecast, 48 degrees for a high. We're not even going to hit 50 out there. Isolated sprinkle is possible, like I said earlier. Wind staying pretty consistent coming out of the north-northeast from 5 to 10 miles per hour. 7-day forecast. That trend is going to be continuing throughout much of the week. It's going to be warming up just a little bit into Monday, 60 degrees, but another cold front is going to be going through and bringing temperatures down sharply. 48 for the high on Tuesday, and look at that, 28 degrees. For your Wednesday morning low, it's going to be very, very cool out there, and again, those freeze warnings could be extending all the way into parts of next week, various nights, of course, but the sun is going to be shining the entirety of the week. It's going to be just an awesome scene. Let's expand things out to the rest of the southeast. Here's Shane Pendleton.
Thanks, Jake. What we've got going on in Tallahassee, we can see across pretty much the entire southeast. Clear skies all around. The radar says the whole story here, or what there isn't to say really. There is no rain across any states in the southeast, except for just a few showers near Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. But across the whole southeast, it's a clear story, and it's also a rather chilly one out there. Here's your current temperatures, or about your afternoon highs, except in the east where we're starting to go down. Wilmington coming in at 45 degrees, only 66 degrees down there in Miami, where they're normally cooking at this time of day. 46 in Atlanta, 50 in Tupelo. So we're talking about a 50-degree spread across almost the entire southeast. And the wind speeds are really playing a factor in this story too, because while the air temperature is cool, the winds are strong, and they're making it feel even cooler, which is what we call wind chill out there. Winds sustained at 8 miles per hour in Tallahassee, a little gustier, 10 miles per hour in Orlando, 14 miles per hour down there in Key West. So the South Floridians especially are feeling a bit of the chill right now. And while it is cool and clear, it is also extremely dry outside right now. Here's your relative humidities and these lower percents indicated by the brown and the white on the map. That's where it's particularly dry. And you might want to pull out the chapstick. It's great chapstick weather, as I like to say. 23% in Tallahassee, 30% in Atlanta, only 22% there in Shreveport. So it is a dry one across the southeast. That's what we see here with all this orange on the map across the state of Florida. No, that's not the gators or the hurricanes. That's the dry air of thousands of feet above our heads. So let's take a quick glimpse at what we're going to see over the weekend. And for the most part, it is the same thing over and over again. Lots of clear skies through Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Maybe a few spotty showers along the east coast, but not much to speak of in the way of sustained precipitation, which is a beautiful forecast. But it's also going to be a cold one. We're talking about freezing line here in Tallahassee, 32 degrees. Same in Savannah with sub-freezing temperatures to our north, 27 checking in Tupelo and Montgomery tonight. And tomorrow, temperatures only climbing to 48 degrees in Tallahassee. We'll see temperatures in the 50s across most of the southeast. Once again, checking in the warm spot in Miami at 77 degrees. Let's throw it back to Andres and Ulises.
Thank you, Jake. And since we have a lot of cold air coming in, I want to bring up one thing. I think people should take advantage that we have at the Tallahassee Mall, we have an ice rink that you can go out and enjoy that ice.
Yes, it's been open since November, but it is closing down its doors on Valentine's Day. So take advantage, especially with this cool weather and all the way up to Valentine's Day, to take that special someone out there to go skate.
Yeah, it should be fun. And I know I'm not the best ice skater. I always go out of there with a lot of bruises on my legs. So, but I'm going to take the time and go and enjoy it and take my bruises and, you know, walk out with pride. That's
the way to do it, especially in Florida. I mean, so rare just to see ice skating. I mean, up north is so natural. It just forms so naturally out there, and it looks so beautiful when you see it on those lakes and ponds.
Yeah, so if you have a good date, I mean, if you have a date you want to go out, well, you know, go out and have a nice day. Take your date out, or him as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, great date opportunities for everyone, and especially with Valentine's. Let's spread that love over with Jake with the look of our nation.
Thanks a lot, guys. And Andres, talk about that bad ice skating. I tell you what, for a northern guy who loves hockey so much, I cannot do it for the life of me. I respect your courage about it. Let's talk about some national weather here. Current temperatures across much of the country staying fairly cool. Miami, the high spot at 60. Actually, Phoenix, the high spot at 69 down in the desert southwest. But lots of 20s, 30s, and 40s throughout much of the rest of the country, with Denver checking in at 29 degrees. Watches, warnings, advisories across the country. We've got a lot to speak of, especially in the northern plains. High wind warnings throughout North Dakota, South Dakota, extending into parts of Montana. Just north of Billings, we're talking about a high wind warning. Just watch is this green area right here, including Fargo, North Dakota, Pierre, South Dakota, just west of Minneapolis. And off the entire eastern seaboard, we're looking at a gale warning. So we're going to have some pretty high winds off the coast throughout from Boston all the way down to Miami and the Florida Keys. Satellite and radar throughout much of the country is pretty clean, but there are a couple of areas to note, mainly the snowfall centered in Iowa right now. It's associated with those blizzard watches up towards the northern plains. And if you look at that cold front that was pushing through here a couple days ago, that is finally starting to push off the coast. That last of that snowfall moving out of the Boston region right now. But let's zoom into that real quick. Got a lot to speak of here. Bangor's getting hit still pretty hard, but it's on the way out. Boston just starting to get off the coast of Massachusetts over towards Cape Cod right now. So it's going to be quieting down as the night goes on throughout that entire region. Of course, there is some snow to note in Detroit. That's starting to push into parts of Ontario as well, so we'll have to note that as we go along. Airport delays throughout much of the country is pretty clean, but one place to note is New York, one of the busiest hubs, of course, in the world. sitting at about over an hour and a half delays with that snowfall that's been pretty close to the area. Cold temperatures, just keep in mind with your travel agent, of course, if you're going to try to fly out of there. Futurecast radar, we got some snowfall starting to develop throughout the northern plains. It's going to push its way into the northern parts of the Great Lakes as we go through the day on Saturday and into Sunday. There's also going to be some rainfall forming in Florida, as we've alluded to earlier, but again, nothing that's going to be too severe. A lot of it's going to be staying off the coast through the day on Sunday. Tonight's forecast throughout much of the country staying very cool. Shane was alluding to Miami cooking earlier. The rest of the country would be very jealous of that. Denver at 15 degrees tonight. Albuquerque at 18. Pressure is very high over there. We actually saw an area in Colorado with 1,043 millibar pressure, which is very, very high, 30 over the normal. Miami going to be the high spot at 62, and then here in Tallahassee sitting at the freezing point, 32 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast, it is going to be pretty similar to what we had today. 46 in Kansas City, 31 degrees under partly cloudy skies in Minneapolis, and high spot's going to be in the desert southwest, down in southern Texas, and of course, Miami, as we expect, sitting at 77 degrees. That's all I have for your national outlook. Send it back to Shane.
Thanks, Jake. We're going to bring it back home to Tallahassee and talk about the temperatures that we have seen over the last 24 hours. Yesterday evening, it was a cool 51 degrees, and then temperatures plunged to 36 degrees this morning. I had to break out my heavy coat this morning, and then temperatures rebounded into the upper 50s, where we sit currently in Tallahassee this afternoon, cooling off just a little bit to 55. We've got shades of green across the whole map because we're sitting in the 50s across the whole region. 52 in Bainbridge, 56 to our west in Wilma, checking in at 58 in St. Mark's on the coast. Now let's talk about the radar. It's not broken, I promise. We just haven't had any rainfall today. We barely saw any clouds at all, even over FSU. You just saw pure blue skies over campus all day today. It was a beautiful day out there. But across the whole southeast, that wasn't the story. There were clouds moving through Arizona this afternoon. That's part of a front that will be moving our way early next week. We could see a few spotty showers tomorrow. We're not ruling that out of the equation entirely, but we're looking for mostly sunny days and some cool ones ahead locally. So let's talk about the current setup, that high pressure system that everybody has been talking about. We call it a big bubble of no trouble. Our friend the Big Blue H here over Mississippi, it's keeping skies clear and temperatures are cool as a result of that. We got a big sun icon over North Florida for this weekend, which is very appropriate because we're going to be seeing a lot of sunshine this weekend. You might want to break out the sunglasses and the heavy coats because it will be a cool one out there. It's actually going to be so cool that the National Weather Service has issued a freeze warning for tonight for Leon County and all our neighbors in the region tonight because temperatures will dip below freezing for a sustained period of over 6 hours. This warning is in effect from 1 a.m. until 8 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. Now, being college students, I expect most of us will sleep through this freeze warning, but if you have to be out and about, do take precautions to be warmly dressed, and don't forget to protect your 3 Ps, your pets, your plants, and your pipes. Do be careful. You might find your pipes frozen up tomorrow morning, which would be no fun at all, and do bring the pets and plants inside, of course, because we're getting down to a low of 32 degrees this evening. Mostly clear skies again. The freeze warning is in effect, and with light winds, it could feel even colder than that air temperature. Same goes for tomorrow, where we'll wake up to about 35 degrees and climb only into the upper 40s by lunchtime tomorrow, cooling off by the evening commute. And with the wind sustained throughout the day, it will be a chilly one out there, so we are advising everyone to dress warmly. As for the 7 days ahead, 7 days and 7 suns with temperatures climbing back into the 60s by Monday, 40s again on Tuesday with highs in the 50s and 60s next week. Now let's throw it to Ulises at the desk.
Thank you, Shane. And today I'm going to bring to you the Great Lakes. When it comes to the winter, they've been having the warm winters overall thanks to El Nino. Warm Novembers and Decembers have brought very little ice coverage all throughout the lakes. Now currently it's less than 6% as of February 2nd. The last 2 years have been incredible amounts of ice coverage. It has caused problems for shipping lanes all throughout. Icebreakers have even had problems back in 2014 with the thickness of the ice that it's actually been to the point where they even paralyzed travel all the way up into the western lakes. But the good news with this year, with all the lack of the warm weather and that later amount of lake effect snow that eventually will last into March with the way things are going this winter, it will also help with those shipping lanes and the economy in the Midwest. But now we're going to send it over to the Sunshine State with Andres.
Thank you, Ulises. And looking at the satellite and radar for the state of Florida, we can see that the state of Florida is living up to its name, the Sunshine State, because there is plenty of it to see around here as this this frontal system has passed on by, but it's going to start stalling out here in the Florida Straits, and it's going to bring later on tomorrow some increasing chances of pop-up thunderstorms for the southern part of the state. But for right now, here locally, we can see right here in Tallahassee, it's currently 55 degrees. Mariana is sitting at 53, Panama City's at 53. The temperatures are pretty much uniform throughout the area, so nothing much to, no big differences to point out. But current conditions are on the state. We can see it's 50 in Jacksonville, 56 in Orlando, and the envy of the state, as always, is Miami at 66. And for the most part, the state is seeing just clear, beautiful skies. But moving on to today's low temperatures, we can see that there is a defining boundary here of where the cold temperatures are at. And it's sitting around Orlando, because Orlando tonight is going to be sitting at 46. Here in Tallahassee, it's going to be frigid. They have the lows for 35, but they could get down to freezing. So please make sure, as we've been saying throughout the whole show, your 3 Ps, your pipes, your plants, and your pets. Please protect your furry friends, because you know what? They get cold too. But in Miami, it's going to be 59 degrees, so the southern part of the state is going to be sitting relatively warm compared to us. So they are the envy once again. But moving on to the current relative humidity, we can see that the humidity is low here in Tallahassee. But as we move on eastward, we can see that the humidity does pick up as these northerly winds are just bringing this cold air down our way. That's just bringing these temperatures down. But moving on to the forecast, we can see that as we put it into motion, we can see that there's going to be some rain coming up, because in this frontal boundary, it's going to turn into a warm front that's going to start heading up north, and it's going to turn up a low that should start bringing more rain tomorrow for the southern part of the state as we go into Saturday into Sunday. But once Sunday comes around, this will all move offshore, and for the rest of the day and for the next couple of days, conditions are going to be pretty clear around the state of Florida. But for tonight here in Tallahassee, it's going to be 32, like I said earlier, 34 in Jacksonville, 48 in Orlando, 62 in Miami. And into tomorrow, it's going to be 48 here in Tallahassee, 66 in Orlando. And the envy of the state, once again, it's going to be 77 in Miami. But for right now, I'm going to take it to Casey and Jake for a look at sports weather.
Thanks so much, Andres. Yeah, really excited about this segment here on FSU Weather. We are very excited about it as we go ahead and get right into things here. Really great situation. Jake and I here to break things down with you.
This is the dream job. Let me say, basketball in one hand, graphics clicker in the other. I am excited to be here, and we got a lot to talk about. Florida State basketball, Super Bowl 50 on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. This football you see behind us, well, pretty soon it's going to be exchanged for a basketball here, as we'll be tracking FSU basketball, NBA as well, other college teams around the nation. Just really excited for that. But the Super Bowl is first, so we need to go to the desk room and talk about that.
Sounds like a plan. Lots to talk about. Lots of going to be quite the interesting game this weekend. We got Carolina, of course, against Denver.
Yeah, absolutely. Really excited for that, Jake. This should be a very exciting game for the two teams out there in Santa Clara.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. kickoff Sunday, February 7th, and it's going to be a defensive showdown for sure. But let's talk some weather first.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to break down the headlines of this here as we do see what's going on in the sports world here over the next couple of days. Super Bowl 50, that big game out there in California. We'll get back to that here in a little bit. We also want to talk about FSU basketball.
FSU basketball getting hot. Men's team 15-7, going to be on the road in Winston-Salem, taking on Wake Forest. And the women, ranked 10th in the country, they're still in the hunt for getting the Elite Eight just like last year. Even the Final Four, taking on Clemson at home.
Coach Sue Simmerhouse squad doing such a great job there. Go ahead and support them if you can. It's Sunday at 2 o'clock. The weather will be nice for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to be there. I went to a game last year, actually. It was the women's tournament. They played against Alabama State. 81-38 victory, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very fun atmosphere. Definitely go there if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of the national weather picture, we do see what's going on there. In terms of those temperatures, we do see 55 here in Tallahassee, But sporting events in the north, central, northeast, much colder. But California, really the warm spot, which we'll get back to here in just a little
59 in San Francisco. That is beautiful, let me just say. Miami, of course, 66 degrees. Texas is staying pretty warm as well, the usual, as we expect down there. Those 3 hot spots, desert Southwest, Southern Plains, and, of course, Florida, South Florida especially.
Yeah, the Lone Star State staying warm. The radar here, do see some wintry precipitation in the north. Going up there for some sporting events, you might get into some of that.
Yeah, Minneapolis, not really a fun spot to be right now. 26 degrees with some rainfall.
Yeah, very cool conditions there. Now, for that FSU basketball game tomorrow in Winston-Salem, you do see those winter temperatures around. It'll be 40 degrees, mostly sunny skies. So
yeah, it's going
to
be a solid commute. At least we got that, of course. Going to be a fun game to watch, though. Definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, not really expecting any wintry precipitation there, so that's good news. FSU women's basketball on Sunday here. It'll be sunny for that, a cool day around.
54 degrees, just going to be another just gorgeous, gorgeous day to get out there and again support your Seminoles, please. They are really wanting your support, and it's going to help them big time as they make their move to get to the NCAA tournament.
And of course, the golf. I know you really enjoy
that. Oh yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool day, so not exactly the most ideal day to golf. The breeze could be picking up a little bit, of course, if you're going to try to get out there and play a Sunday morning round before the Super Bowl starts, or even tomorrow during the day. It's going to be, we're calling it about a 3 out of 5. So pretty good day to get out there, of course, but a little bit chilly. You want to bundle up, for sure.
Yeah, go out there and enjoy that. Now, getting back to that Super Bowl situation, though, we do see those temperatures really nice around Santa Clara, 64 there. And for that big game, it'll be 74 degrees in that region. Beautiful.
Yeah, 74, perfect weather. And something to really note when it comes to football is that wind, 5 miles per hour. It's going to be not much of an impact on the kicking game, of course. And this could be one of those games that comes down to a last-second field goal, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll have our first overtime Super Bowl in number 50.
49 times. We've never seen overtime. It is just insane. Of course, we've had some last-second drama with Adam Vinatieri's field goal, of course, in 2001 as Patriots beat the Rams in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, then year after that, Carolina, New England as well. Or a couple years after, that was a classic Super Bowl as well. The Panthers haven't won one yet, so they're trying to get there first.
Hey, they've only been around for 20 years. It's been a pretty successful run. Actually, their second season, they made it all the way to the NFC Championship game, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC. It was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, my team there, that was exciting. But now getting it back to our big game, Peyton Manning, this could be his last go-around in an NFL game.
Yeah, it would be cool to see him go out a winner, of course, but at the same time, it'd also be nice to see a passing of the torch of sorts to Cam Newton and this generation of younger quarterbacks.
Now to our predictions, though, I have the Panthers winning this big game 24-14. It should be very exciting there in Santa Clara.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I say Carolina winning. I'm going to go a little bit closer, about 20-16. I think Peyton's going to move the ball a little bit, and of course, but Cam's got a little bit too much firepower for the Broncos to handle, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 SEC quarterbacks going out of there, maybe 2 ACC ones we'll have next year. But right now, let's go ahead and take it back over to the wall for our final local segment.
Thanks, guys. Right now on campus, a beautiful Friday with 55 degrees. Those winds coming out of the north at 8 miles per hour. You notice, though, with those winds, temperatures have fell about 10 degrees, up to 10 degrees cooler than what they feel like right now, with those temperatures right now in the Big Bend in the lower to mid 50s. However, the relative humidity, very dry thanks to that cold front that went over our area just the last 48 hours. Relative humidity into the 20s and 30%, even 19% in St. Mark's. And when it comes to that, you better have that lotion with you if you have dry skin, and also have that chapstick with you for those lips as well. Very dry, and that's going to continue to be the trend as we go into this wonderful and beautiful weekend. However, when it comes to that satellite, all around, really quiet, beautiful skies all the way from Atlanta, Montgomery, New Orleans. Beautiful if you're going to go to Mardi Gras, Shreveport as well, even Houston. The clouds are also starting to build a little bit more towards the east, though, and that's associated with that frontal system just finally leaving Miami and Key West. But no rain whatsoever on the mainland, just all pushing into the Atlantic, but great times ahead for this Friday night. As we go into our weekend, however, the clouds will begin to build throughout the afternoon, coming from the east, some showers as well. And this is associated with a low pressure that's trying to develop into the Atlantic that will eventually affect parts of the Carolinas and points north. For us in Tallahassee, some clouds could be expected into the late afternoon and early evening, and you can even rule out an isolated sprinkle or two, so just have that umbrella handy just in case. But overall, great Saturday and chilly temperatures all throughout. By the time we get into Sunday, although that cloudiness will finally fade out, and Super Bowl Sunday will be very beautiful. As we go into this evening, temperatures will fall into the freezing mark. So just remember, we are under a freeze warning until tomorrow morning. So remember to protect your plants, your pipes, and your pets. Very clear skies, those winds coming out of the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. By the time we get into tomorrow, those temperatures are going to struggle just to hit that 50-degree mark with partly cloudy skies. Like I mentioned before, the sprinkle cannot be ruled out thanks to that low pressure trying to form off the Atlantic, but beautiful all throughout. And your coats and the sunglasses are going to be your best friends for the next 7 days. A strong cold front will come in on Monday into Tuesday, and temperatures are going to plunge into the 20s by the time we wake up on Wednesday, but the sun will be all around. And when it comes to those afternoon highs, they're going to struggle just to even hit 50 again by Tuesday, but they will rebound closer to average as we approach Valentine's Day by the time we go into next Friday. And now we're going to send it over to the desk one last time with Jake and Casey.
Thanks a lot, Ulysses. That's that kind of weather that you really don't want to leave those windows open overnight accidentally.
Yeah, absolutely. It would get frigid inside your apartment wherever you are at.
Yeah, 48 degrees for the high. Let's get that 7-day up again. 48 degrees for the high tomorrow, the low of 32. Again, it's going to be, freeze warning, of course, is in effect for tonight, and it's going to be pretty consistent the rest of the week. Those temperatures staying largely in the 40s and the 50s.
Yes, it'll be pretty nice around, though. Again, getting a little bit cool, more like Illinois weather, at least for you. Not like
quite there yet. We'll once we get into the negatives, we'll start talking.
Yeah, exactly. They have that up there quite a bit when it gets really cold. Prime time for that. But make sure you like us on Facebook. Also follow us on Twitter. And you can also watch us at any time on livestream.com/FSU Weather.
Don't forget to give the Instagram some love. We encourage some picture submissions, of course. We love to use those as some of the backgrounds for our graphics. Very cool images, Tallahassee, campus, really anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to have on hand. But just to get a nice weekend, go out and enjoy it. Support the Lady Noles as they take on the Clemson Tigers on Sunday.
Yeah, and don't forget, Super Bowl, 6:30 on Sunday. We'll see you.
Yeah, absolutely. So be exciting for that. But for now, I'm Casey Clapp.
I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens. Have a fantastic Friday evening, everyone.
Have a good weekend.